Hi, everyone. My name is Troy. I was able to save my client $3,000 a month by using low-code and no-code platforms like Apify, Make.com, and Replicate. The task that I was presented with was to automate Instagram social media posts, which would include a relevant image for the content of the post. Creatively, we decided to put a bit more flavor into the project, as you're about to see. Okay, so what we really wanted to do at the beginning here was we wanted to look for some news articles all about hot rods. So I don't know if you're familiar with, but there is a site called Apify that I use quite often, and we're going to take a look at that right now. What we did was we used an actor, is what they call their API tools, called, scroll up here, called Superfast Google News Scraper. And basically what we did was we fed it a bunch of keywords, and as you can see here, all in hot rods, hot rod shows and events, hot rod racing news, engine and performance upgrades, and so on and so on. After we did our initial search, we were able to come up with the JSON script here and feed that into our first module, which I'll show you in a second here. Let's go over to make.com and we'll take a look here. So when we open up our JSON script, or pardon me, when we open up the module here, we'll connect to Apify through our API connection, and we select which actor that we want to use. So in this case, we want to use our super fast Google News Scraper. And then we want to check this off as well, because we want to run this and have this run fully before it continues on. And for that reason, we want to make sure that everything's done before we move on to the next modules. And I'll explain that further on as we go along, why that's important. So what we did was we took our JSON script and we fed it into this input here. And that was the first module. And the information that came up with and the data that came up with is right here. Well, you'll see the output. You'll see a couple of things here. And what we're really concerned with is we're concerned with the default dataset ID, which is this number. And this ID contains a bunch of data in it. Those news articles and the news that we scraped from those particular websites. So we'll take that data and we'll go over to the next Apify module. I'll open that up again here. And what we want to do is we want to grab the default dataset ID from that previous module, as I mentioned. We want to use a clean data transformation, and we want to format that all into JSON format. We want to take that data that we can't really read and format it into JSON so it's a little more accessible and readable. So after that, we're going to have the JSON data from that default data set. And we really want to do something now with this JSON data. And that's the first time that we're going to be using a OpenAI module. And again, we want to connect to that with our API key. We want to create a chat completion is what we want to do here. We want to really instruct ChatGPT and what we want to do with that data and what we need. And the model we're going to use is the latest module GPT-4o system. With ChatGPT, there's several things that we can instruct it to do, several messages, if you will. So we have system, we have user, and we have assistant. And we'll go through these as we go along, so you know what those actually mean. So basically, the first message that I sent out for ChatGPT was the system message. And the system message here is, you are a professional Instagram post writer specializing in the hot rod hobby. Your posts are engaging, authoritative, and packed with the gritty enthusiasm that defines hot rod culture. You focus on builds, customizations, events, parts, accessories, and classic cars for sale, crafting each post with the punchy, high-energy tone that speaks to hardcore hot rod fans. Your writing captures the spirit of the garage, the roar of the engines, and the passion behind every build. So super detailed. You don't have to go that detailed, but I find when you put a little more effort into your prompts, you get really good results. So that's the first one there. After that, we created a user prompt. And what I wanted to do is I crafted it to say, using the keyword title, link, source, and domain. And these are pulled from our results previous in the Apify models. So they're going to pull that data directly from that data set tree. And after that, I need you to write an Instagram post using the style of John McCann from Hot Rod Magazine. And John is a very famous hot rod journalist, if you will. And I really like the style of his articles, and I really wanted to reflect on his style and his level of writing. And that's basically what I'm telling ChatGPT to do. And ChatGPT actually knows who that person is and can craft it, to his style. Focus on the excitement of the customization process, highlight key parts and modifications, and make it engaging for hardcore hot rod fans. Again, very detailed. And then I wanted to run an assistant as well. So as the assistant, their task is to generate an engaging Instagram post for XYZ using the provided JSON data, again, keyword, title, link, and source, and domain. And I'm instructed that you are a professional Instagram post writer specializing in hot rod hobby, using the style again of John McCann from Hot Rod Magazine. Write an energetic and punchy Instagram post, incorporating the user's input and John McCann's signature high energy tone. A separate line, source. So I wanted to make sure that they were credited for the article. It's very important when you're writing these sorts of summarizations. Properly credit the author for the article using it as a citation, and make sure to include a break before the hashtags, removing any textual reference to John McCann in the final output. So I actually gave it instructions on how to format a little bit, right? I did want a break in there, and it's going to recognize that yes, there should be a break in that post. And then finally, one last assistant message. The format for the credit should be credit and then the source. If you just leave this blank and you want it to leave a credit, it's going to decide what format that it wants to do, and it won't put it in necessarily the format that you're looking for every time. So it's really good to put in some specific information on how you want it formatted. We'll set the max complete tokens for that at 4,500. Let's just take a look at the results and see what it came up with. We're going to open the results here, and what we see from the results is we see a really nice Instagram post. A couple emojis there, if you will. Really good information. Hold on to your lug nuts, because this is going to be one wild ride. Get ready to ignite your passion for metal and fuel at Bob's Big Boy Classic Car Show, where every Thursday night in Burbank, California turns into a high-octane spectacle of chrome and customization. Just perfect. Really nice article. Then at the bottom here, you'll see that space as we talked about in the credit, I drive SoCal. And then also it's going to leave hashtags here as it is an Instagram post. And this is all really good information, formatted really well. So we're really happy with this. We've got the post, we've got the hashtags. Now there's a couple of things that we need to do. We'll close that up. We'll go into OpenAI module again using our key and set it up the same way to complete a chat completion. And what we're going to do right now is we're going to use ChatGPT in a way that a lot of people may not think to use it. And I set a system message here. Very simply, you're acting as a search tool for selecting particular text of an output. And that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to look at these articles, and I wanted to find the exact car or cars that the article was about. So search results and list one of the cars that it focuses on, quite simply. So whether it be a Barracuda, whether it be a Corvette, whether it be a Ford, whatever it is, I wanted to list it. And that's what that command is for. When I ran this through testing, I found that it returned items that weren't necessarily or didn't have necessarily a car in there. So it returned whatever it wanted to return for the final output. So what I had to do is I needed to put into another user message saying if no specific car in mention, then output hot rod culture. And that's just general, right? It's going to look for hot rod culture, which is great. And we'll see in a bit why I built this OpenAI tool to pull out hot rod culture or the name of the car in the next section here. Again, 4,500 tokens. So we're going to use Apify again. This time we're going to use what's called a Google image search. So if you go into Apify, this is the Google image search, and what it does is it searches Google for certain images. It's quite simple. And you can use certain keywords to search for what you need to search for. And this is what we're dealing with. We're going to use it to replace this keyword with either a car model or hot rod culture for it to search different images. So in this particular case, I wanted to look at the result. It's going to come up with 25 different suggestions. And then on the bottom here, and yeah, that one. So that's going to give us some images to work with, right? That we can take a look. What you're going to see here for some output again is you're going to see data. That's all it is, right? There's a data set ID, which isn't very useful for us. So exactly what we did last time we're going to break this down a little bit. We're going to take that default data from Apify. We're going to clean it up a little bit and put it into a JSON format. I'm going to set it to a 5 offset. And what that does is just skips items so that you're not always getting the same results. It's skipping looking at different data all the time. And I found we get more varying results with that. You can leave that at 5, you can leave that at 10, you can leave that at any number that you want. And it just helps mix up the data a little bit so that you don't have the same post maybe, or the same pictures anyways from time after time. And once we ran that, we were able to get a result here, right? So this is going to be a thumbnail image that we've got from scouring the internet for the articles that we need. And this particular one is going to be right here. So this is the image right here that we wanted to use, truck in the back there. And this is from, this is from Hot Rod Culture, or maybe it's from that article for the particular car, but it's quite a nice image. And we're actually using just as a reference because I don't want to use the exact image. We're going to generate the image through AI later. So we'll go back to make.com here, and we'll open up another ChatGPT module here. This is where we're going to get a lot of fun here. We're going to basically write a prompt for generating the image. We'll go down here. We're going to give it a system message here. You are a professional prompt writer for the tool that we're going to be using. You want to create a detailed, effective prompts to generate high-quality images. Your expertise lies in crafting prompts that capture the essence of the subject matter with a strong focus on visuals that align with the desired theme or style. Whether for hot rod builds, customization, or other genres, your prompts are precise, imaginative, and designed to produce visually striking results through the tool that we're going to use to produce the image. Now, you don't have to be this detailed with your information to ChatGPT. In fact, a lot of times less information is more. But for me, I like to experiment with prompt design and prompt engineering, and this worked really well for the results that I needed. And a lot of this was actually crafted right through ChatGPT itself. Another assistant message here. So we want to use the details from the result that we got, generating a high resolution image inspired by the style of Peter Vincent. And again, here we go using creative names. Peter Vincent is one of the world's largest, or the world's most respected hot rod photographer or car photographer. Incorporate natural golden hour lighting to evoke a warm, nostalgic mood. Reflect Vincent's precision by simulating the look of photos taken with the medium format cameras like the Hasselblad or Lisa lens. Use prime lenses for enhancing sharpness and detail. Add subtle effects to replicate the use of filters or lighting techniques, enhancing the textures and contrast in the image. And aim for a timeless cinematic feel reminiscent of 35mm film. Keep the background slightly blurred to draw attention to the craftsmanship and raw power of the hot rod. Right? Again, really detailed, but you'll see why we'll get a really good result. And then the next one is another assistant message. Now, those of you that aren't familiar with generating images, it's very useful to have a negative prompt as well. So what you're doing is you're telling the tool, these are the things I don't want to see. I don't want to see harsh sunlight. I don't want to see grainy. I don't want to see low resolution. I don't want to see hyper-modern design. I want it to be realistic, and so on and so on. And this is quite a long list, but it really looks at these and won't give you those negative images or stuff that you didn't really ask for. So it's important to put a negative prompt in there as well. We'll move down a little bit further, and there's another user-generated line that I put in here. I'll generate a high-resolution image inspired by the style of Peter Vincent. I didn't need to put this in, but I really wanted to reflect in how I wanted the picture to look like. I really wanted a little bit more if you will, a little bit of prompt strength to say, hey, this is really what I want the final picture to look like. All right, so that's generating the prompt for our image. All right, so this is, we're going to jump into a Replicate module here. And Replicate is, and we'll just jump into what it is. Replicate allows you to use different tools, different API tools, different image generation, video generation, a lot of the latest stuff in there. So you'll find all the Stable Diffusion image generators. You'll find Flux in there. You'll find ability to make your own LoRa models, a lot of neat stuff in there. Image generation, video generation, the voiceovers, the sky's the limit. So it's just really, if you don't have a lot of background in programming and you want to use like a no code or low code solution for that, Replicate is your outlet for that. In this case, we're going to use a module from a model from Black Forest Labs called Flux Dev. We want to place the aspect ratio for this particular picture at 1.1, and the reason that's important is because Instagram accepts 1.1 pictures. They don't really want to take anything else. So if you try to feed it into a different size into it, a lot of times it'll come back that that's not the right ratio. I'm going to make sure that that's in there. We're going to give it a guidance of 5, and we can kind of change this. This is the guidance for the generated images. Must be lower than or equal to 10. So, so if I put it closer to a 10, I want it to really look at the initial picture that we gave it. If I put it lower, then it'll allow for more artistic flair on what we're looking at. I put it kind of in the 5. I just kind of want it in the middle ground. With this particular model, we have the ability to provide it an image, and that's why I wanted it to the Google image search to search for that particular image, because now I want to take that image and feed it into the Replicate module. And that's what we've done here. We've taken the output from the image. We're going to take this picture, and we're going to feed it into the model to let it know that, hey, this is kind of what we want it to look like. And then the rest, there's a couple more settings here. I'd like to get into another video with you on image generation, so we're going to kind of leave that at this before we get too detailed. But that would be the Replicate module. All right, moving on here. What it's doing right now is it's going to be generating it's going to be generating an image as we've seen already. And I wanted to wait a little bit before it generates that image, before it goes on. A lot of times what happens when you're generating an image, it won't be done and generated in time before you pull the data, and you're going to come up with a 0 error. There's going to be nothing there to pull, and it's going to really cause an error, or is just going to stop you from having any meaningful data push forward. So this is a little tool that we use quite often, a delay tool, a sleep tool, if you will, and you can set it anywhere between 1 and 300. I find that 7 is long enough for it to complete its journey before it moves down the line here. And I just want to back up a little bit here prior to that, just to kind of show you what it's going to do here. So you see here, this is the prediction, right? So we ran the original picture that we had into the input. This is the prompt that it came out with for the picture. Wow, just really detailed. Really polished, in the style of Peter Vincent, and then this is the photo that came out with. So, as you can see, it's beautiful, right? It's just the way we want it. It's a really nice setting. It's almost the vehicle that we're looking at. However, done in I think it's a much better picture and done in a much better style for our Instagram post that we're going to put on there. All right. Let's go back to another Replicate module here. So yeah, we've got a prediction, and what this is going to do is this is going to pull a list of predictions from Replicate, and that's all it's going to really do. We want to connect to our key again. We're going to pull a list of predictions. From that list of predictions, we're going to want to pull one of the predictions out of there into an ID format, into a data set, into a data tree, so we can pull the ID out. And we're not quite done yet. We're going to move along here, and we're going to take that data. We're going to take the URL, and we're going to actually get that picture, or at least get access to that URL through a key. So basically, what we had to do here is we had to do a get method. We had to authorize through Replicate and provide our API key. Provide our API key for that particular image. And once we do that, then we're able to create a data structure and pull that particular picture out. Right now we know where it is, we know where it lives, and we can get that data. So That's just fine. So after that's all said and done, we're going to... Okay, so after that's all said and done, we'll go over to here and I'll just give you a look at what this actually looks like. It's outside of the Instagram environment, but it'll definitely give you an idea of what it looks like here. You have a really nice post that's crafted in the style that we want it to be over, ending with head over to the link in our bio and dive into what makes these marbles tick and why they steal the spotlight wherever they roll. Again, the credit there in the format that we want and some hashtags. And this beautiful picture that's going to go along with your Instagram posts. It works really well, and we were really happy about it. The client and I both were really happy about the results. So the client was really happy with the results, as I was as well, and they decided to post twice a day. And we worked out a little bit of an experiment there with budgeting and realized that if they were to post manually twice a day and get someone to do that for them, the total cost per month would be about $3,000, and that's a huge price savings. So we're really happy to save that client money and continue to work with them. That being said, I'd be really happy to work with you in your business to streamline your social media, automate your social media, or any other business processes you might have so you can get back to what's really important, and that's growing your business and working directly in your business. Thanks again for watching, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye.